Horror. We as human beings can't help but be drawn to it. Whether it be riding a roller coaster, skydiving, bungee jumping, or watching a horror movie, as much as we say we are too scared, it's only natural to crave horror. Welcome back to Fallen Angel Productions, where I explain what a movie is. In this episode, we'll be looking at the 2018 reboot of Halloween, before its sequel Halloween Kills comes out in October. This movie is set in the Halloween series, which follows the serial killer Michael Myers before he became an international man of mystery. The series has a total of 11 movies so far, including this one, but however this movie only focuses on the 1978 original of the same name. It was directed by David Gordon Green, who also directed the Judd Apatow movie Pineapple Express, and was also produced by Jason Blum, who is the CEO of Blumhouse Productions. The movie follows the protagonist of the original, Laurie Strode, played by Jamie Lee Curtis, who is now 40 years older with a daughter and a granddaughter. Laurie is suffering from extreme PTSD from the Halloween night back in 1978, and has built her entire house to be a fortress in hopes that Michael will break out. Long story short, he does, and, as expected, he goes on a killing spree. This movie is interesting, to say the least. At some points you feel like you know where the story's going because you feel like it's following the classic slasher formula, but then all of a sudden it pulls a 180 and you have no idea what's happening. This movie is exactly what the series needed. The Halloween series, much like other slasher series, has its share of awful sequels, and this was not one of them. This movie is also the first in the last 3 movies of the franchise, as we will not be receiving a sequel after these 3. Now, of course, let's get down to the ratings. Number 1 is originality. As I said before, in some scenes you may think they'd follow close to the slasher formula, and instead betray your expectations. The movie uses the fear of the unknown, by that standard, extremely well. 9 out of 10. Next is storyline. In this Halloween storyline, this is the second movie as mentioned before. The storyline of the movie itself follows quite well as opposed to whatever the heck the Rob Zombie Halloweens were.
Can't you see I'm making eggs over here?
Yes.
Since when?
Since now. They're chicken abortions and they're fucking gross.
They are not chicken abortions.
You know what an abortion is.
Yeah, not exactly a great time for horror. 9 out of 10. Third is script. The script, for the most part, is done quite well. Some of the most fun I had watching this movie was when the Strode family sit around and chat. It felt so natural and was just so fun to watch. I could watch for hours. Especially when they throw in some emotional beats. That just hits so hard. 9 out of 10 again. Next, of course, would be characters. As I said before, I love the Strode family. They're such interesting characters, which also helps me get excited for the next 2 movies with them as characters. Then of course we get some more characterization, or I guess technically de-characterization of Michael Myers. You'll understand what I mean if you've seen the movie. 10 out of 10. Next is acting. Jamie Lee Curtis brings it all in this movie. This has to be her best performance of all the movies, maybe even her whole career even. Not to mention her daughter's played by Judy Greer, who's doing really good for herself. 10 out of 10. Next, of course, is special effects. This movie is a return to the glory days of practical effects. Excluding Mortal Kombat, I really dislike CGI. It just looks so horrible and filmmakers rely on it way too much these days. This movie, on the other hand, is almost entirely practical, which looks just so much better on screen. Of course, which brings it to 9 out of 10. 8 is editing. The editing in this movie is done quite well. I don't really have much to say about it though. It works well for what it was trying to do, but that's it. It doesn't really try anything new or take a risk. One thing I did like, however, was how it did take its time to build up to the kills, which was what the original was praised so highly for. 8 out of 10. 9 is awesomeness. I don't know what people are talking about when they give it bad reviews. I thought it was great. Mike Myers in a cat suit was quite silly for the most part, but you get used to it after a while. And wait, we're not doing the Cat in the Hat, are we? Damn it, wrong Michael Myers. I got the wrong script. I need to get the right script. Now, where was I? I thought this movie was great. Michael Myers is such an instantly recognizable pop culture figure, even though his mask is just a Captain Kirk mask painted white. This movie is something for everyone, and a great message too. It's just such a fun watch. 10 out of 10. Last but not least is personal opinion. I first watched this movie with a mate and had such a fun time watching this movie. It definitely has extreme rewatch potential. It definitely kicked off the trilogy really well, and I'm so excited for the next one. 10 out of 10. That brings the total of Halloween 2018 to 84 out of 100. And now for my thoughts. I really do hope this trilogy can put a stop to the current trend in horror of making remakes. I hope this can inspire filmmakers to instead reboot instead of remake. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this review. What I'd love to do next is hopefully review a horrible movie next. But until then, I hope you stay safe, and I hope the shape doesn't lurk.
Next time on Survivor.
Yeah, that's it. Don't you have a Star Cruiser? Star.